Welcome to Night Shadows. I'm Stewart Best, where the paranormal is normal, where that which you thought you knew, you didn't, and where the future can be known if you know exactly where to look.
Well, good evening or good afternoon, everyone. We got a kind. I think it's an emergency update. I guess one could tone that down a little bit, but I don't see how with what's going on. And we got Larry here. I'm going to bring him on just a second. I wanted to read to you, though, Zephaniah chapter 2. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass, as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. For Gaza shall be forsaken, Ascalon a desolation. They shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. Now, this is kind of interesting, and you may remember we had Dan Gordon on some time ago. When was that, Larry? It was probably a year ago, maybe?
A couple of years, probably. Right. It was when his books just came out.
Yeah, he's a very busy fellow, but anyway, he is a member. He's an officer in the IDF. What have you heard? We have different ways to vet what's going on, but what did he have to say about it or at all?
Well, I got a text from him this morning telling me that this is very serious in Israel and to pray for him and pray for the IDF and pray for Israel, and like you said, pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Yeah, this is getting very, very nasty, and I guess the latest situation is that Bibi has given authorization to attack, and it sounds like they're going to actually go into Gaza, foot's on the ground, and maybe take them out. What's the latest you've heard?
Yeah, the latest I've heard, and maybe in a few minutes, you can click on to Hal Turner's site and read some of the latest that you can get available. But anyway, the latest unconfirmed, and I repeat that, unconfirmed intelligence coming out of Israel is that the okay has been given for a ground invasion of Gaza to start at dawn. I mean, dawn there, I guess it's late tonight here. I don't know.
So, this sounds like a total ground invasion then, to me.
Yeah, and also, according to Hal Turner's intelligence, and actually Debka File is verifying some of that because they have sent some of the same brigades that Israel used to invade Lebanon when I think it was 2006. So you don't send those ground forces that are invasion forces unless you're pretty serious.
Yeah, it says, I'm just reading here a little bit. Hezbollah has now said to be preparing missile attacks against Tel Aviv, Golan Heights from Lebanon. Now, this is interesting that the Golan Heights are being brought into this as Israel battles hundreds of rocket launches from Gaza. The Palestinians in the Gaza Strip chose to resume firing rockets on Friday. This is kind of interesting because Skull and Bones, that's probably the top secret society, has the number 322, which if you add 3 and 2 together, you get 5, and 2 would be May 2nd. And there was some stuff on YouTube about things beginning to start on May 2nd. Well, here we are on the 5th, and it's still going on. Palestinians, let's see, let me go down further. Due to the security situation, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu declared a special situation on the home front in Gaza, adjacent to the Gaza Strip. That has not happened, I guess, until just before the Lebanon War. And then it says in red, this is from Hal Turner, Netanyahu has ordered deployment of infantry, tanks, massive reinforcements to the Gaza border. Further artillery being moved to the Gaza border. Israeli defense officials say 2 infantry brigades are being prepared to deploy to the Gaza Strip following deployment of an armored brigade to the area over the past few hours. Then he has another update. Break in here if you got anything new. Massive rocket barrage inbound. Alerts across Israel. You said all day long your phone's going wild. You've got that app.
2 solid days, Stewart. I've got a Red Alert app, and I know when Israel's fired on. And my iPhone has been going off like a Christmas tree. I mean, this has been nonstop. And by the way, I wanted to insert here real quick. We did have intelligence, remember, that May 1st, when the sanctions began against Iran and Iranian oil, that something was going to begin to happen the 2nd or 3rd, and we had that previous intel, and it appears true.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Do you have anything? You read a commentary or something, but I don't know if you can release it over the air of what he said. Hal's analysis of it. Is there anything you can say about that, or is that privileged?
Well, that's privileged information, and I probably don't need to put a lot of that out before any invasion starts. But he was basically saying that the Israeli Security Cabinet had passed a bill of no concessions. In other words, they won't even bargain anymore with Hamas. They've shut it off. No dialogue, no negotiations. Which you only do that before you actually begin a war, and that's what seems to be appearing. And by the way, I'll insert this and get your opinion, but there's a gag order on everything that happened in Israel that has prompted this crack-off. But what's not being reported, and it's certainly not in mainstream American news at all, is the fact that there are a lot of Israelis already been killed. They're using anti-tank weapons, Stewart, Hamas is, against Israeli traffic. They're blowing up Israeli cars with Israelis in them. They also reportedly, and this is part of, I suppose, the gag order, blown up. I'm trying to think how to say this. Let's say that the IDF has multiple, and I do mean multiple, casualties because of the anti-tank weapons being used against them at the Gaza border, and it's probably past the point of no return. This is a lot bigger deal, and by the way, I know, we've read, you and I went over some of the data this morning where they're already hitting hospitals in Israel, killing people in hospitals, and they're trying to, they have fired on Dimona, the nuclear facility in Israel, and there are explosions there. They're threatening to hit the Israeli airports. I mean, this is dead serious.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, Bibi can't sit there and do nothing this time. He's been very, very restrained. I wouldn't have been so restrained. I know you wouldn't have been either. And the military was really angry with him for not responding long ago. Well, of course, every delay, every ceasefire that they ask for is just so they can rearm themselves. And I often wondered, why was Israel even remotely considering ceasefires from anybody? So this almost sounds like if the UN tries to interfere, if America tries to interfere, or if anybody else does, they're not going to pay any attention to it. They're just going to go in and do what they have to do. And that brings us to Henry Groover and his prophecy that Israel goes in and all but wipes out those folks, and the world goes absolutely nuts over it. And that's when America is asked, either you're going to be for Israel or you're against it. And we decide to go against it. And I'm also wondering, if they get involved in a major fray Is Trump just going to stand back and let that happen? What do you think?
Well, what I think, Stewart, is that Trump will not stand back, because if it's true, and we do believe it is, that he is a Cyrus figure, he is going to defend Israel to the hilt. Now, he will have all Congress. He'll probably have all federal judges. He'll have probably the Supreme Court. They'll all be against him, even his own Republicans. Everybody will turn on him. But my feelings is he will stand strong with Israel, and it'll probably will. We're going to hurt.
Well, you know what's interesting about the timing, Larry, is the fact that we just moved 35. What were those F-30? The stealth fighters over there, and we've been pouring in all kinds of material and armament in that area. It's almost like they've knew that this was going to start sooner or later. Well, it sounds like it has begun, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and let me read. I don't know how much time we've got, but I was going to read a few headlines real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to read these headlines real fast, and I'll go quickly. Let's see, a direct hit by Hamas on factory in Escalation with critical injuries, many explosions. Hamas rocket strike in Dimona, explosions in Dimona, nuclear facility confirmed. Hamas firing anti-tank missiles at IDF vehicles. Brasilia hospital in Escalation hit by rocket attack with deaths reported. Let's see here. Israel opts for military war against Hamas and jihad groups in Gaza. IDF reports no ceasefire considered. Massive rocket attacks deep into Israel. Israel strikes Gaza targets in response. IDF moves tank reinforcements to Gaza. Let's see. And the latest ones real quick. Gaza, Hamas infested apartment complex in central Gaza, taken out by IDF. Rumors a second Hamas commander assassinated and operatives dead. Hamas militants now firing on Israeli warships off Gaza coast. Hezbollah forces in Lebanon are preparing to launch rockets upon Israel from the north. And Gaza's governor's mansion inside Gaza completely destroyed by IDF missiles. Go ahead.
Wow. And here's another headline that should disturb everyone. NATO member Turkey asks Russia to join attack against the United States. In wake of confirmation, fired British Defense Minister tried to start World War III. Now, we know prophetically that Turkey, who's been sitting on the fence and playing both sides against the middle, has to go over to the side of Russia. They don't have a choice. It's in the prophecy, so they're going to do it. And anything else you got there, Larry? We got about a minute left.
Yeah, I was just going to finish with this. Hal Turner's summary seems to indicate that, matter of fact, my phone's just going off, as you can hear, with more missile attacks in Israel. But, they're reporting that Hal Turner's saying that because Israel is about to hit so hard against the proxies that this is going to draw Iran and Turkey into the fight, and they will confront Israel. This is going to grow.
Yeah, I think we're watching the beginning of World War III. Don't forget, folks, the Navy ships going down to Venezuela. Don't forget the Chinese situation and North Korea and her little whizzy kid there who's got his missiles, and who knows what he's got on top of those missiles, like little nukes. So this can get really serious. And the timing is about perfect, because we're coming up on Israel's the end of the 70th year of Israel, and her moving into the 71st year, which is when the Lord says, I'm going to take care of this situation on planet Earth, and that includes America as well. So it's a heads up, and pray always that ye be accounted worthy to stand before the Son of Man. Remember that the Lord says, put your trust in Him, put your faith in Him, and worry not that He'll take care of your own. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.